right. Well, thank you so much again for the warm welcome. I know Kendall and I are super, super excited to be here at CMX and talking about how we run Trailblazer community programs on Salesforce. Everything you see here today will be run by Salesforce. And we have a ton of programs, and you've heard about some of them from our colleagues today. During this demo, we'll be going over specifically our community group leader applications and onboarding process, as well as support. All right. So just a couple of quick introductions. We are on the program side of the Trailblazer community team. We focus on operationalizing and scaling our processes, helping to build out programs. And we're actually two of the Salesforce admins on our team as well. So I'm Tiffany. I've been with Salesforce for about 3 years now. I'm the senior programs manager. A couple of fun facts about me: that is my dog, Yoshi. He's a Shiba Inu in the corner. My quarantine hobby has been daily Zoom workouts with my parents. It's been cool seeing them every day and getting fit. They're also listening in, so hey parents. And then the fun community moment for me is last year during Dreamforce. I think Jessica Langston talked about it in her session, but we did a group leader breakfast at Dreamforce. We had over 500 leaders come, and it was just an amazing event to network and meet them in person.
Wonderful. And hey, everyone, my name is Kendall. I'm a program manager on the Trailblazer community team. I've also been at Salesforce for 3 years. Fun fact, Tiff and I started on the very same day. That's honestly, my best friend and my cute cat, Chester, up above me. My quarantine hobby has been spending time with Chester, but also redecorating all parts of my apartment. And my favorite community moment was the India community tour I got to take in winter 2019.
All right, so without further ado, let's jump right in with a little bit of data and a little bit more background on the Trailblazer Community Groups program. So as you can tell, this is an incredibly astro-filled map. We are truly a global program. We've run over a couple of these numbers earlier in sessions, but we have over 1,300 community groups worldwide, hosted by over 1,900 community group leaders. These are customers, these are volunteers who are taking time out of their personal lives and their work to help spread the Trailblazer community love. And together, they're holding over 300 meetings a month in over 90 countries and have about 16,000 monthly attendees. Absolutely crazy. And by golly, it was a journey to get there. This is 2019 data. 2020 is obviously a little bit weird with COVID, but on the left, you can see our leaders and our groups that we onboard on a monthly basis. And then the graphs on the right show the cumulative growth, and you can just see that up and to the right there. We onboarded on average, English is hard, about 26 groups a month and 73 community group leaders a month, with a high of 154 leaders last September. And the crazy thing is we had a huge whopping team of one person, that's Kendall, who's reviewing the leader applications and onboarding the new groups and leaders. Absolutely incredible. So without further ado, I'm actually going to pass the controls over to Kendall, who's going to do a live demo of the onboarding and application process.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiff. So we will just switch our screens. And there we go. Tiff, are you seeing the application window?
Sure am.
Perfect. All right, so let's get into the first demo. So we're going to start on our application form, which is powered by Salesforce and hosted on Bevy. And today you'll see the words staging and sandbox frequently as we move throughout our demo. This is because we will be demoing with copies of our form in Salesforce org in order to protect our real leaders' data, because that's very important. All right, so we have our new community group leader applicant, Dolly, and she's already filled out this form. She's going to start by filling out her basic information. At this question, Dolly will choose which type of community group she's interested in starting. We also have a help article that covers the details of each group type. And today, Dolly's going to choose to apply for an admin group. At this next question, are you requesting to co-lead a group that already exists? If Dolly was applying to co-lead a group that is currently active, she would actually click yes here. And that would populate a list of all of our existing active groups, and she would search for the group she wants to co-lead. Once she selects the existing group, this would initiate a totally different co-leader approval process, which is honestly actually pretty cool. It entails an automated existing leaders for approval and gives the existing leaders an opportunity to get to know the applicant. Unfortunately, today, we don't have time to dive into that process. So we're going to select no and keep going with the single leader approval process. So Dolly's going to keep filling out the form with her details of where the group would be located and some links relevant to our groups. Down here, she'll tell us more about why she wants to start a group and her experience with the Salesforce ecosystem. And finally, she'll let us know how she found out about us. Complete the CAPTCHA, which let's hope I get it right. We'll find all the boats. And once she's done, submit the application form. So awesome. She submitted the form, she got the verification message, and now we're going to switch over to Salesforce. So let's switch into Salesforce, and right now we're viewing the list view of all applications we receive. So I've gone ahead and refreshed that list view. We'll give it a second to load. And beautiful, the list view is loading, and ideally we should see Dolly's application right at the top. And there she is. So let's click in to Dolly's application. And now that Dolly's application is loading, we'll just give it one more second. Beautiful. So over on the left-hand side, you can see all of Dolly's details, her information, her company, her links, her motivation, qualifications, and her proposed segment and location for her group. If we click further into Dolly's details, we'll give it a second. And over on the right-hand side, you'll see this really cool feature that shows any existing active groups near the city Dolly has applied to start a group in. So this is really, really valuable for ensuring we don't create groups of the same type right next to each other. For example, you can see this existing active group is 31.7 miles away from Dolly's proposed city. So our team's going to review all of Dolly's information, reach out to her if we have any questions or need clarification. And once we're ready to approve, we'll head here, approve her application, click save, and let Salesforce work its magic. And beautiful, Salesforce is completely done. So let's head over to Dolly's inbox. Here in Dolly's inbox, we can see that she's received a confirmation email for her application and just in, woohoo, her congratulations email, which tells her that we have approved her application. So in this email, you'll see that we've sent her our policies and guidelines, which she will sign via DocuSign, and a leader survey powered by Get Feedback, so we can get to know a little bit more about her. Dolly's going to be required to complete both of these items before she's eligible for onboarding. At the bottom of the email, there's also a link to a help article with our onboarding schedule and answers to frequently asked onboarding questions. So now is normally the time where we would wait for Dolly to sign her documents. And also, if she didn't sign them, we continue to send her automated emails reminding her that this is something that needs to be done. Today, we're just going to go ahead and populate Dolly's sign date for her. So let's say that she signed her DocuSign today, and she also had time to go into Get Feedback and complete her survey, which makes her completely compliant. And now that Dolly is a completely compliant leader, let's head over to our onboarding queue. So this queue shows all of our community group leaders who are waiting to be onboarded. And I've just refreshed the queue, so once it loads, we should see Dolly there, ready to get all set up. And here's Dolly. So awesome, let's get her onboarding process started. Now, to begin onboarding Dolly's new group, we're going to open up both the record for Dolly and the record for her new group. So here's Dolly, and there is the group. Amazing. And now that the group has loaded, you can see that the name of the group was made with our standard naming convention. This is because our org is set up to name for every group. You'll also see that the group is in new status because it's just been created. As the group moves through the normal onboarding process, its status would change. So I won't show all of our resource creation today, but one element that I really wanted to highlight is group and leader Gmail creation. We provide our leaders their own emails for all program resources, and we also tie these emails to one distribution list for their group, so we can email one alias as the group grows to include more leaders. And now, with just one click, I'll create the Google group for this group. So we'll click Create Group, wait a second, and there we go. The Google group for this community group has been created, but we can see that there's no group members. So let's head back over to Dolly, and let's create her leader Gmail. Great, and now Dolly's leader Gmail has been created, amazing. But we can see that she's still not a member of the Google group. So let's go ahead and add her. And there we go. Dolly has her leader Gmail created. She's a member of the Google group. You can see she has active status and she is ready to go. So once all of the other resources have been provisioned, it's time to trigger Dolly's welcome email. Let's go here and send her credentials email, save, and let Salesforce work its magic. And once Salesforce is done, you'll see that we've auto-populated her start date, so we always have that in our records. We also know exactly when her welcome email was sent in case we need to look it up for anything. We could also scroll up here to this button that says Send CGL Announcement, and email of Dolly's new groups to all group leaders within a chosen mileage range. So to wrap up Dolly's experience, let's head to her inbox. And there we go, it's her welcome email. In her welcome email, you can see that we've sent her a few help articles, we've sent her her new leader Gmail, her temporary password, her Google group distribution list, and a link to her group in the online community, which we would have created during onboarding. So finally, here's a sample dashboard with onboarding data that Tiff touched on at the beginning of our presentation. With the increase in total leaders and groups also comes an increase in support cases. So on the left, you can see all of the cases that we've received over the last 12 months. And if you notice that big blue section, those are support cases, which we define as cases that are process-oriented and normally tied to one of our program resources. On the right-hand side, you can see the breakdown by types of support cases. And to dive more into support and the systems we built around it, I'll pass the mic back over to Tiff.
Thank you, Kendall. Great job. All right. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, it looks
wonderful. Thank you. So this is our homepage for the help articles. And as Kendall mentioned, this is linked in a lot of the emails and different resources that we provide our leaders. All leaders have access to this and know it's a first line of defense if they encounter any questions or have any problems that they need help with. So just to walk through the help articles really quickly, there's always going to be a search bar. We have programs listed here. Educators and Future Job Seekers are two other amazing programs that we have on the Trailblazer community, but obviously we've been talking about community groups today. We also have some top articles listed here, and then on the right you see a get in touch form as well as our team's email address. If anyone finds that the help articles aren't fully resolving their case for them, they can always contact us this way, and I'll go into cases into our Service Cloud instance, which I'll be jumping into in just a second. So diving into community groups a little bit more, you'll be able to see that we have them further labeled and detailed for easy access. Always also have that search bar up in the right-hand corner. We want to try and make things as easy and streamlined for the leaders as well. So this is a great resource for them to kind of, be able to filter and search depending on what their issue is. Diving in another layer further, looking at an actual help article. This one is on managing your chatter group effectively, which is the online collaboration where leaders can chat with their members. And so you can see we've got some formatting, we have screenshots, the whole shebang. We also have related articles and views. And of course, we have the contact us form as well. And then lastly, we have this little box of, did this information solve your issue? Yes, no, and that helps us provide insight into what help articles are the most useful, maybe which help articles need a little bit of fine tuning or updating. Okay, so now we're going to jump into Service Cloud. So imagine someone filled out this form or sent us an email. One thing to note is that all cases come into Service Cloud as cases. And so it could be emails or cases. I'll be using the two terms interchangeably. One thing is we have case assignment rules. So case assignment rules will automatically filter cases depending on subject or where they come from to specific queues or people. So it streamlines the assignment process. So for example, if someone had submitted the form through the educators or future job seekers programs, those automatically go to a queue for our Trailblazer Connect team. So those members can actually triage and resolve their cases without having to go through a huge main queue. All of our support cases go into this queue called All TBC Support Cases General. And from here, our amazing community coordinator, Jose, will go through the cases and triage them to members of our team. Now, one thing is we all have different roles and initiatives and projects. Each team member has their own specific role. And we've seen some of that through some of our other sessions that we've held today. And Jose will take that into consideration. So let's say Daisy May's case is first here, and she's looking for a speaker on Lightning Web Components. That's a product feature, and so that would be a good case to assign to Alex, who focuses on bringing product to the community. So I'm going to leave that case for Alex and then assign myself a couple cases. You do that by clicking the boxes, click Update Case. Right now it's assigned to a queue, the general queue. I'm going to change it to user. Go ahead and type myself in. Select myself, click Save. It's going to ask me to confirm. All right, now you noticed that those cases disappeared from the main queue. I'm going to take off my Jose hat, put back on my Tiffany hat, and I'm going to come into the office, which nowadays is putting on a nice top and leaving on my pajama bottoms and sitting at the desk in my bedroom. And I'm going to log into Salesforce. So I actually have my own list view called My Open Cases. And as you can see here, the 4 cases that Jose just assigned to me are right here. Now let's go ahead and just pretend I'm doing my day-to-day. I'm going to click on Hakim's case first here, and let's see what Hakim needs. You can read the email from Hakim here in the corner. Hope all well on your end, looking for best practices on chatter group and how to keep engagement in his collaboration group. Okay, cool. Well, let's start working on a response. Click on email here, automatically, oh no, technical difficulty. This is live demo, y'all. All right, well, not gonna work on this browser, so I'll just talk through it. Essentially, you can write the email response. And then one thing is, you wanna use existing resources. So as you know from earlier, a couple minutes ago, we have a help article on how to manage your chatter group. If you look here on the right panel, these are knowledge articles straight from that help article, which are suggested based off of relevancy. So we'll take keywords from the subject or the email. And as you can see here, just hovering over this hyperlink, manage your chatter group effectively is the first article that it's suggested. You can even scroll through the article directly in the console just to make sure that it fulfills the needs and answers the question that the leader had. So this looks good. And then the cool thing is you can actually insert the help article directly into the email. You can either insert the URL or insert the article into the email. And I usually think that including the entire help article gets a little bit chunky, so I just usually include the URL into the email, and it automatically formats it with a hyperlink and also the name of the help article itself. And sorry about this, I guess, you know, new setup, it's like, I'm just gonna stop working right when we do the demo, but that's okay. So we're gonna insert the URL of the help article into the email. And one other thing is, I tend to close my cases the same way generally. It's usually like, hope this help article provided some insight. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions or if there's anything else that we can assist with. And rather than typing the same thing over and over again, which takes time and adds up if you, resolve 50 cases in a day, quick text is another feature that we have. And then unfortunately, again, it's not showing in this interface, but if you have sentences or two that you use on a frequent basis, like the closing sentences, you can just insert it directly into the email itself without having to type it through. And that's really great because, it just saves you time. It also has the ability to customize. So it autofill Hakim's name in. And then this is a true email interface, so you can always customize it. We're super important on never losing that personal touch, losing that personal connection. Plus, oftentimes cases that you receive don't necessarily fit the mold 100%. So you want the ability to customize and personalize the emails. Okay, well, normally, and in all my practices, you could actually send the email by just clicking the send button, and I'll go ahead and send the email straight to Hakim. And then the next step is to categorize the case. And categorizing really helps us see trends. What are people messaging us about? If we see a case come in or multiple cases come in with a specific label, we know that there might be an issue and we need to look into that further. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Type is a higher level category and it's based off of our programs. And so you can see community group as a program here. Subtype is a dependent field. It's actually pretty cool. So the options in subtype changes depending on what type you put. So all the subtypes that you see here are specific to the community group type. And so Hakim is a new leader. He's having some issues. So I'm going to go ahead and select new leader journey here. And since I quote unquote sent the email and it's closed, I can change the status of the case to closed. And then I can click save. You can see that the case has been closed. And then you can also see the subject that I closed the case as well. Now, another thing that you can do in Service Cloud is collaborate directly in on the cases itself. So let's say, for example, I know that Kendall is working on office hours, focusing on the new leader experience. And I think this might be a good topic for her to cover. I can tag her in it and be like, office hours idea, ? And share it. She'll get notified, and then we can actually continue to collaborate directly in the Service Cloud. She has access to the email, how I responded, full context, and full visibility. All right, so I know a lot of the things that I covered in this demo are kind of normal and standard for support, but we receive over 800 cases a month, and we have a fairly small team, so finding those little efficiencies, those shortcuts, the quick text, we have email templates, utilizing existing resources like the knowledge base articles, that ends up saving us hours and hours of time, which at the end of the day lets us focus on more community management, like engagement initiatives, surprise and delight, things that really matter and make the biggest impact for community management. Support just becomes a really small part of our daily activities. All right, so with that, I'm going to jump back into the deck and go over a couple of key takeaways. The first thing, data, data, data. Data's been a consistent theme throughout CMX so far, and it's super important to figure out what metrics you want ahead of time. Also, don't just pull data for the sake of pulling data. All your reports and dashboards should show actionable insights. They should show you what you're doing well. They should show you trends. They should show you bottlenecks and improvement areas. Also, data doesn't mean anything if you're not looking at it. So all of our dashboards, for example, the one that Kendall showed in her demo, automatically get sent to all of our team members on a weekly basis, so they have easy access to all of the data as well. Additionally, we have an exec dashboard with all of our data pulled up at a higher level that's sent to our exec team on a weekly basis. So they always have access to what we're doing and how the community is doing. Second, wait, don't automate. I know automation is super sleek and sexy, but sometimes it starts to be in the weeds, be in the trenches, do the end-to-end process. You can see where the bottlenecks are, and you can see the places that would benefit the most from automation. That way you also get a holistic view, and then you can prioritize the areas that would need the most automation and would benefit the most from it. Plus, also, if you're just starting out your community or your community is still growing, you don't want to waste your program manager or your Salesforce admin time building automation if you're just going to end up changing the process later on. Third bullet point, really heavy math here. Small times 100 equals really big. A lot of the things that Kendall and I showed in our demos were very small things. But again, those things really add up. You don't want to discount the small wins and those small process improvements because as your community scales, those things really do add up, and it becomes, as the equation says, really big. And then the last thing is something that we're extremely, extremely stubborn on, and it's never aim for 100% automation with community management. Sure, you'll have the support cases like password resets where it's follow steps 1, 2, and 3 to get it done. But there's so many times where you don't want to lose that personal touch, lose that personal connection. After all, that's what the heart of community management is really all about.
Yes, and speaking of relationship building, we just really wanted to thank CMX for having us here today and thank all of you for attending. It means so much to us. I know we had some questions come in, so we'll answer those now. Also, please feel free to add them in the chat, and thank you so much for being here. All right, Tiff, so I have a question to start you off if you're ready.
Yeah, ready.
All right, so one that came in from Holly, which I think you touched on, but maybe we should go over in more detail, is how do they automatically go to someone's specific queue based on the case type or sender?
Okay, yes. So it's a combination of both. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have case assignment rules, which filter, to different people on the team. So for example, we had student groups and they went to our Trailblazer Connect team. Any of those cases that come from the educators or future job seekers portion of the help articles will also go to the Trailblazer Connect team. Sometimes we also have specific programs with specific keywords, so we can filter out those cases based off of keywords to go to the appropriate team member. And then with the remaining ones that go into kind of that general queue, Jose will work on triaging them to the appropriate team member on a daily basis.
Amazing, love it, thank you. I saw one come in from Tali, apologies if that's the wrong pronunciation, asking a question about the application. Except for the application form, you don't have any other interaction with the applicant before the approval. So I can answer that one. We had to do pretty quick demos, right? So I demoed a simple leader comes in, everything is good, and we approve process. In reality, there's normally application with the or interaction with the applicant because maybe there's already an existing group where they live, or we need to know more about their qualifications, or we think they applied for one segment, but they might actually be a better fit for a different one. So in reality, of course, we're interacting and sending emails back and forth, but for the sake of the demo, we just wanted to show you all how the process worked with the funnel.
Let's see. Looks like another question. Looks like you do a lot of, actually, how do you convince the organizers or the leaders to read the helpful information? And that is actually, something that we continuously work on. Right from the get-go, when we're onboarding leaders, we provide the articles in very succinct formats throughout the onboarding process, and always have the hyperlinks ready. And so that kind of just instills the practice from the very beginning. And then in the event that someone still messages us and emails us, definitely including that hyperlink of the help article is kind of a useful hint of, hey, we do have this resource available for you. But if you need any additional help or have any more detailed questions beyond that, we're here to help.
Absolutely. I have a couple more here. Alfredo, we'd love to chat with you about Salesforce at another time. Feel free to message us on any platform. There was one question from Andrea about naming that I see Holly sort of answered in chat. Tiff, the question is about the automated group naming process. Are group names based on geography? And if so, do you struggle with edge cases?
Do you want to take that one?
Sure. So definitely we struggle with edge cases all the time, but we do have a normal format, which is city and country, and then the segment name with Salesforce. So that's our normal naming format, and we really try not to stray away from it. Of course, sometimes leaders want to go by the name of their region or something else, but we just try to work with them and let them know that having the standard naming convention helps the entire program.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I know we're for time. Kendall and I are around all day, so feel free to DM us or message us in chat or follow us on Twitter, and we'd love to continue conversations with all of you.
Great. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tiffany and Kendall, for having your demo and your experience with Salesforce. So thank you very much. We appreciate your time and your effort in answering their questions. So if you have people questions with them, just reach them out anytime, the whole summit. And don't forget to post on social CMX Summit 2020, how you were watching, and everything you learned from here. So thank you and see you on the other sessions. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.